It's corporate finance. I'm working for the second biggest bank in Germany.
I work as a data analyst here.
I am a finance project manager at a multinational company called SAP.
I'm a credit control supervisor.
And people are shocked every time I tell them this, especially for me, because I came from North America. My background is financial. I studied economics in school, 5 years in Toronto. I graduated with an honors degree, and that opened up some doors in Florida and then here in Europe.
In terms of salaries in your profession, how much could somebody expect to earn
Sure.
from our age?
So one of the first things I did was I took a lowered salary on purpose to get my foot into the door, and then I proved myself through the work that I did. My bosses noticed this and they started amping up my salary quite quickly. Even now I'm getting raises about every 6 months, and that's not including the inflation raises. I'm fortunate enough to say that my company also gives us bonuses at the end of the year. So my advice would be don't go greedy at first. Just adapt to the culture, meet the people, start being a good employee, prove yourself at work, and money will come later.
Yeah. And do you have an idea about like an entry-level salary in your profession? What could it be?
Sure. So because I started quite low, it started at about 40,000. So I'm not talking
Czech
about
crowns.
myself, but I would say please expect that if you're starting somewhere, let's say even corporate. However, in a few years, once you start moving up, and I don't mean in the corporate ladder, I just mean if you make smart corporate moves, you don't have to stick in the same company. You could go somewhere else. There's no shame in that. You can always seek a higher salary. Yeah, I think you should. And it could rise up quite quickly. One of my colleagues left where I work now, and she's getting more than double her salary with the same experience and the same age.
Yeah. Is there like a cap or something?
Yeah. So I would say this individual is getting about 130, 140. Business analysts can expect around that range. If you're in IT, you can start very low in IT, maybe even 20,000 per month, which is very low. But if you're good enough and if you make your own corporation, you can go more than 1 million per year. If you're employed, 200,000 Czech crowns per year.
Yeah. And now
No, I'm sorry, 200,000 Czech crowns per month.
a month, yeah. Okay. As a data analyst in Prague, how much can someone expect to earn?
Oh,
Like a range?
For a freshers, I would say 45 to 50 is the range for a fresher as a data analyst. Like just right after university, you can expect around 45k CZK to up to 50 CZK or 55 max.
This is before or after taxes?
Before taxes, there will be
Yeah.
taxes around 15 to 16% taxes on that. Then with 2 or 3 year experience, you can expect up to 70 to 80,000 Czech crowns.
I have a bachelor's degree in marketing and a master's in digital marketing. I run projects that are dedicated only to finance purposes. Again, as part of that portion of the company, I'm a project manager.
In your profession, what would you say is a typical range of salary that you can expect to earn here in Prague?
Okay, it 100% varies on the experience and the role, but just to give you like a range, I would say that for an experienced certified project manager, you might be talking between 70, 80,000 Czech crowns all the way up to 120. That might be the standard. You may find jobs that offer more. You may find jobs or companies that offer less, but definitely that's the range.
Yeah. And can you also say something like an entry position there?
Entry position, I would say that you can start off at maybe 40,000 Czech crowns.
I'm taking care of all the clients for my company are paying their bills mostly and looking about a team in Europe. When I came first in Czech Republic, the average salary in this kind of finance work with no high value, it was between 35,000 Czech crown per month, between 35 45.
Okay.
Yeah.
and now it raised up a little bit in this as an average salary?
Oh, it's a long time. I didn't, because I'm still in the same company, so
Yeah.
I didn't look anymore at the average salary. But looking at the news and hearing what is happening with the actual situation and inflation, it has a big impact in Czech Republic. And I don't think that salaries are grown in the same way that this inflation. So
Yeah.
maybe it's more harder now than when I started.
And how would you describe the work culture or the work life here in Prague in terms of atmosphere, work life balance, relationship with bosses, co-workers?
Sure, sure. I really appreciate the work balance here because not only are you friends with your colleagues, like I mentioned before, Czech culture is really quite calm. So there's really not a lot of stress, even at my job, and I work in a bank. So I think there's a lot of different aspects of it, and there's a lot of ways to judge it. But I know that my company takes care of us, and we work in a nice building, we work with nice colleagues, we get a lot of benefits. One of the greatest things I would say about the work culture here, and people are shocked every time I tell them this, especially for me because I came from North America. In Canada, we only get 2 weeks of vacation and 5 sick days. The first job I had here in Europe, we got 6 weeks of vacation, up to 30 days for being sick, and 6 days where you don't even have to notify your boss of why you may want to take the day off. If you combine all of that together, that's like 2 months off. So I really appreciate and I really like the fact that the work life here takes care of the employees and cares about their health.
I would say I'm very lucky because I was able to find a job even during my studies itself. After my first year itself, I was able to get into a good organization. I work as a data analyst here, and the work culture is here is actually very good. I would say one of the best I have experienced. It's a stark contradiction to what I have experienced in India. Though you will be working overtime without any pay, and it's a lot of stressful jobs, and, work security, job security. But here it's actually very good. There are rules; they follow rules. Nobody will make you overwork, and the pay is on time. And the co-workers are actually has been very helpful for me. I work in IT mainly for e-commerce, so I am pretty lucky to have people who speak English and are able to communicate to me in English. And my company supports me to learn Czech as well. They are funding my Czech education as well.
I'd say it's really good. I find that it's part of the culture here that work life balance is 100% a must, which is something that we need to foster all over the world. There is a lot of work offerings here as well. So the fact that the Czech Republic is also within the 5 countries in the world with the least
Unemployment rate?
unemployment rate. Yeah, thank you. There is a lot of attention being played to the sanity and the safeness of the employee in the sense of facilities being provided in the workspace, making sure that the people has everything that they need to succeed in their corresponding roles, and also a lot of support being provided to again contribute to that work-life balance for people like with kids or people that struggle with any mental health. I find that from time as we move on in time, companies offer a lot of support to employees so that they can actually have that work-life balance, especially when it comes to the wellness of the mind.
Yeah. So companies really care about their employees.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh, the work life is really nice. It's easy to get a job, honestly, in Czech Republic and in Prague in general. Um, if you are a foreigner and you speak a foreign language, it's already a plus. You will never be unemployed because they are really looking for this kind of profile. Even if you don't have the background or the ability, they are willing to open the door and to teach you. Honestly, and I would say that they made a lot of things to make their employees happy in the office. Always coffee, fruit, Work-life balance, it's also good. They don't pressure you. Don't pressure you. It's the same in any job. If there will be job with stress and then, but from what I've seen, they never really been on pressuring me, and it's more my choice to make good balance because between my work life and my personal life.
And now, in terms of cost of living,
Yeah.
how much would you say somebody would need in order to live a comfortable, simple life in Prague?
If you're talking about the breakdown of the cost of living here, I would start with groceries. So the grocery store selection is quite good. There's German stores, there's British businesses as well. So you can always find things more affordable or a bit more expensive. A very good store I really like to shop at is Billa because they have a lot of quality organics and they're always fresh. You can always choose to shop at Rocklik, which is also very competitive and they deliver right to you. This is something I've started doing recently to save a bit of time for myself. The cost of groceries per month will range from 6,000 crowns to about 10,000 crowns. That's if you go organic. Now that's just for one person. So if you have a family, expect that to increase as it should. The cost of electricity is quite high, so expats should consider this before moving here. In Canada, where I lived in Toronto, it was close to Niagara Falls. All of our electricity was hydro, which meant it was extremely affordable. 1 month cost about $30. And in Czech Republic, the cost of electricity is substantial, especially given that the buildings are quite old. They're not very well insulated, the windows may be old and outdated. So you can expect to pay anywhere from 2,000 Czech crowns per month to something that I pay, which is about 4.5 Czech crowns for an apartment which is about 63 square meters. I have my own mortgage now. I got favorable terms before COVID, so I'm paying about 15,000 for my mortgage. But given the new percentages, you can expect to pay up to 25,000 crowns for a mortgage for a decent flat. If you have a family, expect that to be more.
What would you estimate for a single person an overall cost of living each month?
Overall cost of living in a decent apartment for rent of 17,000 Czech crowns if you're by yourself, plus the 6 to 10,000 Czech crowns. Plus, if you're sociable and you like to go out, eat at restaurants, spend some time in pubs and cafes, perhaps some healthcare costs if your employer isn't covering your bills for you, like medicine, things like this. You might expect to pay somewhere from 30,000 Czech crowns to 40,000 Czech crowns. That's a comfortable lifestyle where you're living alone and you're eating good food, but you're not exactly spending time in five-star restaurants.
Things has changed a lot in Prague over 3 years because 4 years ago the rents were not that high and you were able to afford it very not bad. But now after the Ukraine war and inflation, the inflation has been too much and the wage growth hasn't caught up with that, and most of the places rents actually doubled. So it used to be maybe 10k, now it's almost 20k or 25k for a 2 BHK in anywhere, in any place. So the population of Prague has increased, there is less supply of apartments. So all this has contributed to huge demand for apartments, and for expats it's even more difficult because Czech owners, they prefer to rent it to more to Czech residents. So we only have few, the expats only have few places to actually get apartments. So that means more demand for few properties. So the prices actually it's more even more for expats. So if a Czech person is paying 20k, expats has to pay around 25, 27k for the same property. Most of your money is going to rent. Yeah.
And then overall with groceries, maybe once in a while going to a restaurant, everything together, how would you say somebody would need in order to live a simple life?
So groceries, it's actually not that expensive here compared to other countries, I would say. So the daily expenses for food, if you are eating out of restaurant, it's a lot. But if you are cooking, you are able to save a lot of money, and someone to live comfortably here, he will need at least with rent, he will need 27k.
This is a question that I get asked a lot. It depends on what are your standards for living. Just to make it short, let's say that you are single, young, person and you go for a room in a shared flat, you can find those from maybe I'd say between 9,000 Czech crowns all the way to 12. If you want like a studio apartment, you can find from maybe 13,000 Czech crowns all the way up to 18. That's for a studio. If you're looking for something bigger, so like, separate room, you're talking between 18,000 all the way up to 25,000. Decently located.
Then with other expensive groceries, maybe
Mhm.
going to a restaurant once in a while for a simple, relatively simple lifestyle, how would you
Yeah.
say is the total cost that somebody would need?
So I'd say that if we break it down, you have to consider so home expenses between electricity and groceries. I'd say between 6,000 Czech crowns up to 12, depending if it's for like one or two people, including electricity, Wi-Fi, and just your grocery shop. If you want to go out to dinner, I think you can maybe like between 20 to 50 euros going out for dinner to a decent restaurant.
Per
It's perfectly
person?
doable per person,
Per
yes.
person. So just an estimation of a total. Do you have one for a single person?
For a single person, I'd
Would
say
need
that
in a
maybe
month?
depending on how much you spend on rent, you can definitely make it with like 40,000 Czech crowns a month.
Oh, cost of living. So in the capital, cost of living is always high, especially for the accommodation. So it will be always something around. You need to count off half of your salary, always.
And could you make a suggestion for a single person, like a number, how much somebody would need a month to live here?
Still for a month, average someone alone, single in Prague, he needs to count almost 15K per month for his the rent. When you compare with the average salary, what I was saying, which is okay, if you have 45, which is right on the average salary, you will get something around 31K net per month, and 15, so half will be only for your rent, and
And then with other
and the other
expenses,
expenses, electricity, which is also high, and then if you think about food and all the things, you will need to count maybe 10,000 kron more on the month only for that. Yeah, it's really at that moment. Yeah, it's very difficult.